Well, in this silver video, I hope I give you some enlightening information. Actually, I think on most videos I do give you a little bit of a different twist because I do not follow other people's leads. I don't follow the alternative media. I kind of look what they say. I don't follow the major media, just kind of look at what they say. Just want to bring home the point. Why do we have silver in the first place? Here's $5 official document, official currency. Yeah, that's pretty much what they're giving us, fake money. You know, they're talking, Hillary Clinton's talking about fake news. Yeah, right. Come on. We got fake currency. This is totally fiat. And it's not issued by the Congress, it's issued by the Federal Reserve. So the hands of currency producing has been taken out of the power of the people. That's 101 why we're actually into silver, because we see the writing on the wall. But, what's coming up? I mean, this may be the face of the average silver person that's looking at, hey, I want to know what's going on because I'm really curious and I'm anticipating, and I'm on edge. I'm on edge, and actually that's part of the game with the alternative media, is to keep you on edge. But I'm not doing that. I'm actually giving you some common sense on things. So, but one thing I want to tell you that this is Evil Knievel, and actually he said something way back when, and I think it's words to wisdom. Now, you do know he attempted to jump the Grand Canyon or Snake River Canyon, but he he didn't quite make it, but he lived, so it was a success. But I don't think you realize, and this is really how we are going up against, when you're investing in silver coinage, you're going up against the authorities per se, maybe. That's really, I guess, what you're doing. You're going up against the man and all that. Well, Evil Knievel had a problem when he was going across to do that jump, and you would think the average person wouldn't do that jump in the first place. It's pretty wild. But what did the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, said you can't do that jump because we can't let you use the land on the other side of Snake River Canyon. So it turned out that Evil Knievel quite didn't make it, but you know what he told him? He told him, well, you're going to have to shoot me out of the air or something because I'm making that jump. That's the spirit of the Bundy Ranch right there, and that's actually the spirit of silver. See? He told the BLM, you're going to have to shoot me out of the air because I'm making that jump. So he's on the legal side of land. He's going to be jumping over the canyon. He's going to land in Bureau of Land Management land. He was doing it. He didn't quite make it, so, But if you made it, what would they do? Really, come on. Anyway, so what we got to say is, bitch, we're going forward anyway. Now, I want to tell you some other things that are coming up, and I kind of read between the lines on a lot of things. I've been an advocate of Palladium, and I think Palladium is going to be doing better. I might be dumping it too early, probably, but getting up in the mountains might be number one priority. Who knows? But I want to say this, that when Trump is getting into the White House, and it does reflect on what's going on in the markets. I can already see, the markets are strong, but there's a key factor whereby the economy is going to start looking really bad for the average common people, because most people don't own stocks, right? Stock market's going up; it's approaching 20,000, but most people don't own stocks, and I don't really trust that anyway. I think it's going to come crashing down hard. But before that happens, there's another indication what's coming on. So anyway, right now Trump is trying to choose his intern, so he's going to Ukraine, where he got his wife from East Europe, so he's going to get some East European interns. He's making his choice right here. So, and they're all putting in their pitch to freaking get in the White House as it was as a Trump intern, because I think Trump's interns are going to be way better than that Monica Lewinsky by far. But on to what we're going to be talking about with the stuff going on in the markets here. Usually, cycles just happen, right? They just happen just like clockwork. Right now we should be in a downturn cycle by, the number of years we've had since the last recession, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe they're going to push you a little further, but I could see something else writing on the wall. Now, I've always said that, Russia has been, well, let me put it this way. Saudi has made an agreement with the United States to crush Russia by bringing down the oil prices. Now, I don't know what the game was exactly with Obama, Osama Obama, whatever his name is, but I do think part of his game, I think they wanted him to do this, to tell you the truth. Part of his game was to build up Iran, and there is going to be a major conflict between Saudi and Iran in the future. That's part of the reason. I think they're trying to get them to fight each other. But what changed recently is this. Saudi has now made an agreement with Russia to cut oil production. And you're thinking, well, they just made an agreement right out of the blue, right? No. They were allowed to make this agreement. That's my theory on this. In other words, Saudi does what the hell the United States tells them to do. I know they got influence in this country, but they're a vassal state of the United States, too. Originally, it was, let's bring down, Russia, and let's also make the economy in the United States good for the average person by bringing down lower oil prices, which means, shipping of goods is cheaper, retail market even gets cheaper, maybe even a booze market gets cheaper because that's affected by agriculture, because agriculture is very energy intensive, and it makes the economy good for the people that don't have equities and all that type of stuff, because their day-to-day life is affected by energy, whether they're driving their car, heating their house, or just buying goods in stores. So that was to try to keep the incumbent party in. So now I'm reading what are the elite really trying to do here. And I don't need to be, Pastor LW to tell you, because we actually have elitists that tell us stuff right on the major media that are in the oil industry. And I'm not going to sell you a DVD for $95. It's free. This video is free, right? You just watch it or you click on it, whatever you do. But normally, what's happening here now is, this is like a super OPEC, because Saudi and Russia are about the same in oil production. Without Saudi, OPEC is nothing. But Russia was always doing their own thing. So now they agreed to, let's get together and cut oil production. That's like a super OPEC. You see, OPEC, that's the reason for OPEC. Now, why am I harping on this? Because oil prices are related to gold prices. And when oil prices go up pretty fast, gold prices go up. And maybe it's not doing that today. I don't know what it's doing today. But it happens not maybe necessarily on a daily basis, but it happens on an aggregate overall basis. And then when you look at any time we've had major spikes in silver, there's been major spikes in oil around that time. Almost not exactly perfectly correlated to one to one, but there might be an oil price spike first, and silver takes off. That's usually what happens. So we've been drinking the Kool-Aid out of the bottle right here for a long period of time. Gold label reserve, right? And that's pretty much what we've been doing. Now the economy is going to start seeing what the oil prices really should be. Now, honestly, if you're looking at the amount of oil reserves out there and the number of dollars, oil should be $20 a barrel. There's like a non-energy crisis. That's one thing LW said, but that's per somebody else, That absolutely is true, but that they are going to bring up the price of oil now, and it's quite obvious that Saudi was given a green light to make this agreement with Russia because they were against Russia before. Got it? What changed? Trump's in office, right? Trump's in office. So they're going to make Trump look bad. He's going to say, make America look great. Oil prices are going to go up. But you see, when oil prices go up and tensions in the world get higher, because, he's also choosing more, because I think it's at the behest of the elite that he's choosing more hardliners with Russia. And at the same time, Russia's coffers are going to start building up. Now, I'm not anti-Russian. I put out videos about the United States and Russia should be working hand in hand very much, and even join together at one country, as long as we have, a lot of autonomy in each region, all our separate regions, including our states and all the regions of Russia, and there's the Bill of Rights is the law of the land. I'm fine with joining Russia and the United States, as long as it's not joined by the elite and it's joined by the people themselves with a Bill of Rights that they can't screw with, and everybody's armed. But when I see what's coming down now, is that Russia is being allowed to build up militarily because why? How do I come to that conclusion? Because the oil prices are going to go up because they're cutting production. So they're going to get more money in their coffers with producing less. That's the whole purpose behind OPEC. But Russia was never part of OPEC. But now that they made this agreement, in a way, they're part of a new super duper quasi OPEC. It's even bigger than it was. As far as like what's going to happen in the United States, it's going to raise energy prices, which is going to raise food prices, which is going to put a dampener on the economy. Because actually, every time, for every $10 or something, I forgot what it is that you exactly what the thing is exactly, but for every $10 a barrel goes up, it knocks the GDP down like 1% or a half a percent. I forgot what it is. So if Trump wants to do his Detroit renovation program, he's probably going to have to get some graffiti artists working pretty cheap, and that's how they're going to wind up fixing up all the houses in Detroit, and that's how America's going to look great again with very colorful graffiti houses, because he's not going to have the money to do so through the normal government coffers, which are running dry. But in the meantime, most people, they're out in La La Land, like old girl with the makeup here. If you look, and this is not a criticism of YouTube itself. YouTube actually is catering to the audience that they have, right? And whatever, which by and large, most people today would not be able to survive the way they did back in the 1930s if we had a Great Depression. I personally think we're coming up to something worse than a Great Depression. Like we had the Great War, and World War I was referred to as the Great War. World War II was way worse. It's been talked about a long time, but I could say the creditary evolution of the average person in the United States, people are tapped out. The entire economy has been gotten bigger by people spending to the hilt, and now they're owned by the banks. They're paying interest and all this kind of stuff, and they do not know how to survive on their own. That's why a lot of times I put a lot of videos. I'm gonna probably put some more knife videos out and stuff. That's a pretty good investment, because somebody will say silver's still a value umpteen years from now, or gold. So is a knife. It's even more so than a gun per se, because it's pretty much legal everywhere, and it's doesn't really have functioning parts on it too much, as long as it's built pretty well. So, but in the meantime, most people are oblivious to what's coming down. I said this before, they're not going to screw with the economy until the next person comes in. Now, if Hillary came in, they'd do it anyway, because they're moving hell and high water to keep things afloat, to make sure she got in, because good stock market, low oil prices, the best economy they can make muster by policies of the Federal Reserve and the web bots trading with each other back in the background, is what makes for happy people, right? And that's what they want, and that's what hopefully usually means the incumbent party wins. But this time it didn't happen, because she's horrible. Now Hillary would like this babe as her girlfriend, but keep looking, babe, because this one's taken anyway. But actually, the people that are just get a little political on here. Actually, the joke, I know a lot of people now that voted for Trump and stuff, they're like saying, yeah, just like the girl over here, yeah, we won. Too bad, you Hillary supporters. But I don't really think we won yet, because it's like I said, I was harping on one guy can't do all this stuff. I don't think he's a bad guy, but I don't know what the hell Obama. And I gotta diverge on a tangent here. I don't know what Obama told Trump for an hour and something meeting in the White House, which is usually 10-15 minutes. I don't know if he told him, like, the great lizard king underground is you're now his servant. I don't know what the hell he told him, man. I don't know something really wild that freaking, because he's pretty aware of all the conspiracy theories out there. It seemed like he was a little worried after he got out of a meeting with Obama. I don't know what he told him. I have no idea. It's pure conjecture. But, we the people that, even voted for Trump, which I think is the vast majority by a lot. First off, he's not going to be, I don't think he's going to be able to deliver on stuff, even if even if he's trying to. I don't think he's going to be able to. And number two, I think he's being set up to look bad, make him look bad. He's being set up that way. So that'll be the joke on us, Like, you elected this guy. Look at the powers don't like this guy. Even though I think he's going along with some of the stuff, um, they don't like him. They don't like him at all. So anyway, but just like things go, and I'm going to tell you honestly, back in the 1920s, people knew what the hell was going on with World War One. That's why J.P. Morgan went and moved to buy up all the major papers that influence all the lesser papers. People back in the 1920s figured out what went on in World War One and how we shouldn't get involved with it. Back in, I think it was several months. It was in August of 1941. They did a Gallup poll. 83% of the people did not want to get involved in World War II, which is already starting. Hitler already invaded Poland in 1939. Japan was taking over China in all the years in the 30s. People back in 1941 in this country, 83% overwhelmingly didn't want to get involved in World War II. That was in August of 1941. So less than 4 months later, on December 7th, 1941, we had Pearl Harbor. So honestly, what I think is going to come down, maybe this is conspiracy theory, but they might have like a 9/11 2001, only a lot worse. With a dirty bomb, a dirty nuclear bomb or some shit. Blame it on the Iranians or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're going to do. But I wouldn't doubt this. And then we see under those circumstances, what happens during times of uncertainty? Gold goes way up. Gold goes way the hell up. That's what happens. And every time you look at when there's times of uncertainty, usually it's because of tensions in the Middle East, and we call the Middle East because that was halfway to, the trade route. It was halfway to the Dutch East India Company. That was the halfway stopping port to India for the trade route, right to the Far East. They used to call it the Middle East. I don't know if that's a right name for it, but we all know you all know what I'm talking about when I say Middle East. But that's usually where the tension starts, right over there. And then oil prices go up, gold goes up because psychologically that's like a safe haven. Then silver goes flying. And sometimes you really can't guess where the hell it's going to go. But I also think that since they're now made this agreement to cut production, between Saudi and Russia, that's going to make not oil prices go up exponentially, even without tensions in the Middle East. But you already seen that coming. I think I don't know what it is today. I saw it jump from like $50 to $53 a barrel on the WTI, And by the way, as far as like our culture here in the West, we've always been a little more risque than the rest of the world. So, I mean, whatever. So, this is a picture from the 1920s, I think, or something like that, which would have been extremely risque back then. But let me just tell you that I think we need to keep on with our time-honored traditions in the West and not get too religious, whether we're Islamic, Christian, or whatever, So, because when it really comes down to it, whatever. I mean, I don't really like, that's another thing, because I see that's a common theme on a lot of the alternative media about the end times. And I think I put something out about the end times, but it wasn't like really about the end times, because I think what we're just coming up to is tumultuous times. Not to minimize it, but the great batted lizard, whatever the hell this thing is it's going to be swooping down on us and bring us some bad luck for once in a while. But I don't think it's nothing that could be overcome. But I think the problem is if you're a millennial, you're going to have a lot of problems, because it's not because inherently you're unskilled or inherently you don't have the lack of willpower and the brain power to do something. It's because inherently you haven't been exposed to how to do a lot of these different things. Like the Russians, they would get some of this cool vodka lemonade over here, Leninade actually, and take a couple swigs of it and bear down and do whatever they got to do, right? Over here in the United States, they're like, well, we don't know what to do. The zap on my iPhone or my Android doesn't work right to get me all the stuff I need. I want to order some food on my Android or my iPhone. It didn't work. You know what I'm saying? We got to have a problem here. And it's not like I'm mocking the millennials, but they're going to actually have a problem, major. So, but anyway, I look at it like this. You know, I'm not I'm not really somebody that's against war per se, as long as I win and I don't get screwed up. But what just to freaking ad lib on the end of this, I personally think Iran's okay. They're an okay country. Iraq's okay country. Saudi's okay. But I look at it like this: we need to take them over, and what they're going to do to our women, we need to do to their women, right? How's that? Does that be fair? And train them and set them up over here like this, like they could be, our servants. Because I keep seeing this shit on YouTube all the time. They can tell you can do this to the American woman. I'm like, no, you're not. Anyway, that's one way I'm thinking. That's probably politically incorrect, but what the hell, right? But let me just say that honestly, that you're going to find out that Trump is going to not that I think this guy's so disingenuous. He's a bullshit artist somewhat. I mean, they all are at the top, right? But he's not totally just disingenuous at all. I mean, I think he's pretty honest for the most part. But he's finding out a lot of things that he didn't realize before, and he doesn't control the whole economy, because if he did, he'd be a fascist dictator. So the other forces that really control the economy are going to do everything in the world to make him look bad. And I already see what's coming up now with this agreement between Saudi and Russia to cut production. Now, Harold Halm, who's a insider elite, if you want to call that, and I didn't speak to him personally, I just read his article. He's the shale oil industry, North Dakota, South Dakota, oil baron up there, multi-billionaire. I forgot what he's got, $50 billion or whatever. Probably got way more money than anybody that Pastor Yo-Yo talks to. He says that we can easily up production up here in the United States, easily, right? And it's true, because everything's in place. The price just needs to go up. So all this is playing like when the Saudis and the Russians cut oil production, this is all playing into the oil elite over here in the United States, right? So, I mean, you can see the money angle on it from that thing. But, who's going to get hammered? The average person. Now, I put some stuff out about HHO in my little Suzuki SJ413 Jeep thing. And, it does help with mileage, but that's a non-computerized car. I think it's going to be a very, very hot topic, and it used to be on YouTube in 2008 when oil on the WTI hit 147 a barrel and was over $100 a barrel. Big hot topic about how to run your car on water and shit, which I think is the technology's there. I gotta have to be a little long on this video because I just have to bring something up. As a matter of fact, when they had that tsunami in Japan, year before that, Genepax, or a couple years before that, Genepax was they developed the water-powered car, which redeveloped from Stanley Myers, right? It's not running on water. It's running off of hydrogen split from the water with a special electrolysis process, right? Well, I wish I PDF'd the articles. You would have freaked out. It was in a major publication about automotive. Mitsubishi and a few other car companies were going to use that technology in high-end cars that cost more than $50,000 or more, because it would only add a few $1,000s to the price of the car. They weren't going to just put it out in econo boxes. What happened right after that? The tsunami, Fukushima, and the car industry in Japan got whacked. So oil is a racket, and I don't think that's a theory. I wish I PDF'd that article as the link went dead. The Japanese, that technology is not BS. We got technology where we can run stuff dirt cheap or practically nothing, and they're hiding it. It's not that super simple. Like this stuff I did on my own gave me a 10% gain of mileage per gallon in a simple car that wasn't computerized. It just had a carburetor. It does work a little bit with the real simple stuff. But the complicated stuff that really splits the hydrogen from the water very rapidly, think of it as mining. You can run the whole damn car off the hydrogen that's in the water. They don't want that technology out. So, the world is actually revolving around oil, and I think eventually, I don't know what's coming down, because I don't think anybody else does. I don't think the elite do either. They got plans, and different people got different plans, and they're all competing with each other, but I don't think anybody knows how this stuff's going. It's like, I think, it's like a Ouija board. There's a hidden hand moving all this kind of crap. And, just to give you a little bit more insight into things, this is how stupid the elite really are. Um, for instance, what they really want to do in the world is to bring every nation down to a certain level where they're not going to be too strong, where they can rise up and be independent. They want to be interdependent, but also they want to be they want to keep technology kind of like stagnant, more or less, or just give it out in pieces. But could you imagine if they were controlling, like a group of elite people that were very, very smart, were controlling things, say, in 1000 AD, and they were still controlling the world today, right? We would have never progressed beyond what we were in 1000 AD. In other words, they would have had Nikola Tesla or, Albert Einstein, doing some menial tasks where they would have not been able to bear fruit on what they really know, right? In other words, what would you rather be? Would you rather be the King of England in 1000 AD, or would you rather be sitting where you are right now? You probably have way more than you have right now than the King of England would have had in 1000 AD. But you see what I'm saying? That the elite are actually stifling and shooting themselves in the foot by being know-it-all, myopic micromanagers, thinking they can control the world. They actually screw things up for themselves. So, but them playing. That's why you really can't pay attention to major media much, and you really can't pay attention to the alternative media, because a lot of the alternative media, I think, they're a bunch of disinformation shills that are backed by Time Warner and stuff. But you should pay attention to the alternative media that's smaller, like myself, but there's other ones out there that are giving you more divergent opinions that are not following either the major media or the major alternative media. But what I think's coming up, it's going to be a real bitch in this country, big time. As a matter of fact, I think they got it in for Trump, man. Even though he may be an insider, he might be going along with what they want to do. Here's my major point on the deal: why they got it in, not just for him. They got it in for all the people that think they could have elected somebody and revolted against their situation. That's why they're going to try to really put the hammer to Trump, because it's not just on him, it's going to be on all his supporters. But I got news for you, man. Like I've been telling you, don't buy stuff from the big companies. Get away from them. I mean, I don't even like using eBay, because eBay itself is a big company, but it has small vendors on it. That's not too bad, because you're using small vendors. Go to people that are maybe selling something on newspaper ads or whatever, or Craigslist or whatever, right? Do it that way. Go to flea markets. It's for certain items that you can possibly buy, that you can use, that you might need. Because the more you support these big corporations, the more power they got. And actually, the less you are getting involved and intertwined with them, especially with the technology, the more independent you are. Actually, you look at this guy, Evel Knievel. I was looking at some of this, back when he was doing these jumps, he didn't have, he wasn't using any kind of mathematics to see, which speed do I have to be, how much the bike and me weigh, and then the angle of the ramp is, and how far it will go with the wind resistance. And, he didn't have a tachometer on a bike. He didn't have a speedometer, whatever. He just went for the damn thing. You know what I mean? But, how did he learn that? Trial and error. And this is really important for you, the people, because I really don't like putting out as much as these silver videos as some of the other videos on health, which is very, very, very important, and how to do stuff, which is very important too. You're going to find out coming up in the future. Because actually the people that are putting out silver videos are telling you all the stuff that's going on in the Federal Reserve, and we think Janet Yellen's going to do this and that. Fine. So they do it. What are you going to do? I mean, that might be like somebody that's lobbing artillery at you or something, because they're up in the Federal Reserve and they can affect your economy in your world. But what are you going to do about it? Just sit on your silver and that's it? No, you got to do more than that. So I'm going to actually continue on with other type of videos, but just remember that it takes balls to freaking you know survive and thrive. It really does. It's like you're not going to thrive and survive, but you sit on your ass and say, "No, I got silver." It's hands on, and it also takes balls. It's hands on work, and you gotta really get in there and do the shit. You got to be an evil Knievel, and if the BLM says, "Yeah, you can't land on my land," well, I'm firing up this cannon motorcycle with the rocket engines on the back of it. I'm going across Snake Canyon, and I'm landing on the other side. Tough shit, and you're gonna have to shoot me out of the air if you don't like it. That's what he did. That's the kind of this guy is cool, man. He's like George Washington on steroids. That's the way I look at him. So anyway, so for all you guys who are freaking guys and gals that are all freaking worried about silver, actually I think they're deliberately bringing up the military strength of Russia. Trump's being pushed to freaking get a bunch of hardliners on Russia in the office, which I'm against. I don't think they should be doing that. I mean, if he wants a hardliner in to get some feminine girls as interns. And in the meantime, the only thing that's protecting our dollar is the oil rackets. If there was real alternative energy out there, which I know there is, I know the armchairs will tell you, like, yeah, somebody would come out if they made enough money. Well, you're making more money off the freaking oil racket and the Federal Reserve racket and the OPEC racket. What do you think you're making the money off of? Some yo-yo is going to come over there and try to make a few $1,000,000 off of some, yeah, maybe eventually it would make a lot of money, but you got to remember that would knock out the people with the other entrenched racket, just like anything. I'm going to probably put out another video on baking soda, sodium bicarbonate. That's another thing that can knock out probably alone could probably knock out the pharmaceutical industry. How come nobody's buying it? That's an example. How come nobody's buying it? You go into supermarkets, they're everywhere, except you got to look on the top shelf that's in little boxes. It used to be in these 50-pound boxes, right? How come nobody's buying sodium bicarbonate? You wouldn't believe the number of health benefits there are of that stuff. But you know what it is? It's media advertising. Well, that's why there's advertising on YouTube. It works. It works. It works. Advertising works. It definitely works, man. How do you think we got in these problems in the first place? How do you think we got these armchair, lazy boy chair people sitting out there saying, well, our capitalistic way, if there was a better way of doing something, they would have got rid of this a long time and somebody would have made money doing it. Yeah. Except that would be knocking out somebody else that has their own casino racket, and it wouldn't happen. So anyway, just keep the faith on this deal. But I think, in short, I think Trump is getting set up. He's getting it set up big time. But beyond that, we're getting set up. The economy is going to start looking bad because oil prices are definitely going to go up. When we've never had Russia in the OPEC, like Russia is not part of OPEC, but in reality, with them agreeing with the Saudis to cutting production, it's like a super duper OPEC. And OPEC is designed to keep the oil prices high, not low. When they were doing this with keeping them low, increasing production, that was to freaking hurt Russia, but it was also to get the Democrats elected again. So you want to make the economy really good with the average person with low energy pricing. What did Obama tell you, man? He told you many years ago, or a few years ago, he says, enjoy the oil windfall. It's not going to last forever. I think it's going to go to $200 a barrel, tell you the truth. And you're going to see $8 a gallon at the pump eventually. That's when you're going to see your silver way the hell up there at new record heights. It may only go to 70. I don't know, even when oil's that high. I don't know, but it might go higher. So you're going to need it. That's the point, okay? Anyway, rah, rah, rah. Over now.